he did not answer the question the way he was asking. Jesus himself is asking this man. When we look at verse let us look verse 5. One man who was there who had been sick for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew had already been there for a long time. The main thing or the main point that we are extracting from this scripture is that Jesus himself knew. He already knew that this person has been here for a long time. Has been servant for a long time. Now it is time for me to help him. Now he's coming and saying this, okay, you are my son. I'm coming to help you. Here is the question that is thrown into this man. Then Jesus said, after he has seen that and he has gone to the pool, we are going to look at how we can give or how we are giving excuses when we want to be helped. The simple question Jesus asked, do you want to get well? That's the question he asked. But let us look at the response for this man. Or you can, before this, you can even imagine that if do you need a pen? Either say yes or no. But let's look at this man the way he says. Sir? And by then he had not known who is this man. That's why we are looking at it. That's why he's telling him, sir. The sick man answered, I don't have a man to put me into the pool. When the water is stirred up, but where I'm coming, someone goes down ahead of me. You think this person has answered the question he was asking? The question Jesus asking, do you want to get ill? Do you want to get well? That was the simple question Jesus asked. But the response of this man, the sick man answered, I don't have a man to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up. But where I'm coming, someone goes down ahead of me. Don't you think this man realized this weakness that he cannot run faster than somebody who was behind? Because the real response is giving is that I already know that I'm going to the pool, but I'm still here, I cannot move. The reason as to why I need somebody to help me into the pool, who is Jesus Christ. Meaning that in our lives we cannot do without the love of God or God in us. Then Jesus looked at this man, because he's the one who came for him. He said in verse 8, get up. Jesus told him, pick your mat and walk. What do you think this man could have done? He has not already recognized that this is Jesus Christ. He's telling him, pick up your mat and walk. He has been here, I remember, for 38 years. But somebody else just come and said, pick your mat and go. Because he never realized, he never see who God was. What he did, he just obeyed. He has been there with a man, and at this back of the mind, he thought maybe this is the man who has just come to rescue me. Let me do what he said. In verse 8, in verse 9, instantly, the man got well. What did he do? He picked up his mat and started to walk. How do you say about that? For example, you've been somewhere for a long time, you've served. You've been doing all your stuff. You want to reach somewhere, but you cannot reach. You have tried your best. You have stayed there for the longest. You are not diverting to anything else. But you are still there. Somebody comes to your life, helps you, and it tells you all your problems have been solved. Don't you think you will thank that person so much? That is what this man did, but he never knew it was Jesus Christ. This would tell us what happened in verse 10. Before that, I say, now that day was the Sabbath. I don't know whether we fall in this category or not. Joining the Jews, the way they were thinking, and the way we are thinking this time. They asked, so the Jews said to the man who had been healed, this is the Sabbath. Drama. Are we together? Drama. Hello. They're asking, this is the Sabbath. It is illegal for you to pick or to carry your mat. The man replied, the man who made me well told me to pick my mat and walk. Do you think after this time this man has realized it's Jesus Christ? Then he said, who is this man told you? That's verse 12. Who is this man that told you, pick up your mat and go? But the man said, who was cured did not know who it was, because Jesus has split away into the crowd that was there. Actually, just a crowd name to split around. After this, Jesus found himself in the temple. Now this is where you realize that this person or this man, after he has served for a long time, I guess that he vowed to God that since I've been made well, I'll never leave this, I'll never avoid thanking God for what he has done. Because where he went to the temple. That's why he said in verse 14, after this Jesus found him in the temple complex and said to him, say now you are well. Do not sin anymore. What do you think this man was healed for? He was sick because he was what? Because he had already sinned. And there is not that this person or this man could have not moved from where he was
But it's because he wanted somebody to fix his life. That's why he never quit. He stayed for the longest time waiting for the right time to come for him to be healed. And now since Jesus they have met on the church, on the temple, they have said do not sin anymore, so that something worse doesn't happen to you. When this has happened and you have been helped, you are in the temple. Stick there and do what God wants you to do. And that's why he said, sin no more. If you do that, then what will happen to you is the worst. You never know what will happen. The time is now that you have. The man went and reported the Jews that it was Jesus who had made him well. How do you say, church? Now he has realized that this is Jesus Christ because we have met in the church. Because of my iniquity, he has told me don't sin anymore. We had a rich guy. He had already hired some of the men to work on his vineyard. He was so rich. And then we had a poor man, a poor boy. He was a little one. They were not well of their family. So this man, they call him the cranky and the fussy. That is, fussy is selective. He discriminates people. He was high-tempered. He could have not tolerate anything that you mess within his family. So we have some couple of boys who have been working on, who worked before in his vineyard. The problem that they had, once they make a mistake, they knew this guy is high-tempered, he can beat you up, he cannot laugh with you, so they ran away. But we have only this one boy who was raised by the mom. Because of the background status, he said, I'll do my best to work. And please my boss. Before 1 week ends, the man did orientation to him what he is supposed to do, all the calls for the family or the house. And they left. The boy came up in the morning one day. He took up the saw. He started doing the fences and the cutting some trees all within the house. Unfortunately, the saw broke. Now this boy had already remembered what was this colleague told him before he was hired to work in that family. He started consoling their friends. When he asked his soul, you are no more now, you need to run away before that man comes out. Instead of to save your life, even to go and say hi to your parents. The worst thing you've done is to break the saw. Now this boy said no. What did you do? What you did another mistake? He said I ran away. And then he asked another friend who was there because they referred him and they asked him, for example, when Jeremiah did this, what did he say to him and what was the reaction? He said no, he ran away. Because this man is known as high-tempered, he is fussy, he is selective. Then this boy knelt down, and then he said, because what this boy told him that if you work with Johnson, you will get trashed for that. The boy said, who was the friend? But this boy realized this thing I did, I was given, and he gave me all this, he trusted me. And I knew how to use the saw. But here it is, it has happened. It is by accident. What can I do? Can I do the way others have done? He said no. You want to tell the owner, that is the Johnson, the owner of the properties. Then he say, the other boys were telling him, even if you do all those things, it cannot make a difference. For him, what he know, he's high-tempered, he cannot tolerate those, so it's better you spare your life and go to be with your parents. Those are the advices that they were giving him. But this boy said no. What I can do, I need to wait for this man. Because he knew that this Mr. Johnson will lose his temper and fly into the rage. He never told him and he kept quiet, the other guy. The other guy, he kept quiet, he never told. That's why, because they are trying to give the characteristics of this Johnson. But the goodness of this guy, he said was Mr. Blue. He felt he should talk about the broken saw to Johnson. And what he did, since Johnson was away, this man prayed. He was a young boy. Remember, he remembered the background. He said, no, my mom is suffering and they raised me in hardship. I have the opportunity, and here I am. Then this boy went upstairs to sleep, but Johnson came in late. Now this boy, once he heard the doors were open, he woke up, he came down to meet the boss and talk to him. And the boss said, the boss asked him, Johnson asked him, why are you not in bed? Why did you get up to tell me about it in the morning? Because you already said, I'm sorry that I broke the saw. It's not that I didn't know how to use it, but accidentally it broke. And I've been hearing about you and how you do these things. Once somebody has done something wrong in your family. But now I've come to apologize. So the decision is yours. I didn't run away as the rest do. Then this guy said, why did you get up to tell me about it? Couldn't wait until morning? He said yes. This is the boy, yes. But I could have waited, sir. I felt if I put it off until morning, I might be tempted to tell a lie about it. I will have some added minds that will come for me to lie to you. The good thing is that he said, I'm sorry, I broke the saw. But I was careful how to use it. I was careful. It was just an accident. Instead, the man put his hand on the shoulder. You know that is how the man is feeling, that right now I may not see my parents, that's my mom, but I'm open enough. I'm telling this man what I did. Because of the love of this rich guy who is Johnson, he looked at him and he just hired the soldier. Trembling, had waited for scolding and felt sure was coming. When he tied the shoulder, he looked at him sympathetically and said, never mind about the broken soul. I'm also so happy to know I have a boy now that I can trust. Go to bed, forget about it. How many times have we done a lot of mistakes in our lives that we feel once I go to God, I need to tell this problem, He will not allow me, He will not accept me. We have done a lot of mistakes in our lives. We have broken a lot of souls. We are in a broken world. We have been struggling with our lives in difficulties. But look at what this rich man has done to this boy. That is how Jesus Christ wants. You see us going to Him in prayer, in all those dedication, humbling ourselves to Him. He forgives all the sins, and He said, my sons and daughters, come, because this is the right place that where you are supposed to be. I'm ready to hold your hand, to take you home. Once you yourself you realize that wherever you are is not your comfort zone. The medical research has proved and heard the feelings and the emotions to contribute sickness or ailments. Usually these are the emotional after effects of harmful experiences. And these are not things that we have, or we can say they are unique. They are to everybody, every one of us. We have resentment, anger, bitterness, frustrations, disappointments, suppressed grief blocks that will not allow us to make the love of God to flow in us, in our lives. That's why we are sick and we are there waiting for somebody to help us. You need to forgive and let go past hurts. Stop carrying the baggages with you. Just allow God to heal your inner being. Physical healing will flow immediately. As we all know, and I say this one, This man had been disabled for 38 years. He had tried everything possible for him to get healed. There was nobody to help him. You look at on John, that the one we have just read, 5. Verse 7. That's where he tells us that, sir, I've been sick. I don't have a man to put me into the pool. When water stirred up, but where I'm coming, someone goes down ahead of me. Maybe this man has been abandoned or was abandoned by the families. That's why he lied there near the Bethesda pool in the hope that somebody he might have a chance to help him first to be in the pool, because once the angels were coming and stir the water once, whoever was going first was the one to be healed.
Yeah, at times asking myself, what about the other lame who are there? Maybe they could have mercy that he has been overstayed.
That everybody with his own cross. That you yourself is you and your Savior, Jesus Christ. He wanted to get well, but he could not by himself. He needed somebody to help. His sincere thought was, if he could reach into the pool at the right time, he would have been healed. The only problem was he could not. We all know at our places or at ourselves what we can do to reach where we want to reach. I may know what I've done. You know what you do or what you did. All we do is just to take you to the Lord. This man has persevered all this time, only waiting for one man. As I said, not even my wife will save me. She will help me. My kids will help me, but they will not save me. That is why we have Jesus Christ. Go into him and tell him all the problems that we have. That's the song, even the song that we sang. He said that you give all burdens to God. You not be dismayed. God cares. That's why I say he did not even know who Jesus was. He was not even looking for Jesus, but Jesus came to him. Even after he was healed, he found Jesus again, and Jesus promised him not to sin anymore. So in our lives we don't need to have or to give some excuses. You look at first Samuel chapter 16. You look around see 7, whereby is 16. This Samuel, he has been commanded, or he has been given power by God to go and do his work on his behalf. But he's giving excuses. In the midst of us, we are a lot of people and we have various different talents, but we are refused to exploit them to help somebody who is somewhere who needs our help. It's high time that we utilize all that the Lord has given us to go out. And my prayer this morning or this evening or this afternoon is that we avoid some of those circumstances will delay the connection with God. Let's not be judgmental. Samuel, God has also spoken spoken to him directly, and he's saying, he say, I'm sending you to Jesse because I've selected a king. That's from the book of 1 Samuel. Then look at the excuse, because God himself has seen this, and they sing the privilege, the king in this Jesse's land in Bethlehem. He is talking to Samuel. But I want you to connect these two with the one that we just read with the man who was asked, do you want to get well? And Samuel has also been commissioned. But let's listen what he says. How can I go? Saul will hear about it and they kill me. We are living in a world of fear. We cannot even trust what God says to us. That is one of the man that we need to look at. And then after all those, he went and looked at all these gentlemen who came, and God still spoke to Samuel, and they told him, do not anoint anybody until the one I will direct you to anoint. That is why he said on verse 7, the Lord said to Samuel, do not look at this appearance of his statures, because I have rejected him. Man does not see what the Lord sees. You cannot compare yourself and say, no, I want to charge this. I saw that man outside. No, I know what he is thinking of. We have only one man, who is Jesus Christ. Ours we just see outside, the physical appearance. But what the Lord said is to Moses, to Samuel, for a man sees what is visible, the one that you see with your eyes, but the Lord sees what is in and here. You just see what is on your heart. My prayer this morning is for the Lord to help us, to guide us where we are holding on, where we are seated, to accept changes in our lives. Let's try to accept corrections. Let's take the advices. But the advices that you are given, choose it wisely. Because if you choose all the advices, look at what happened with this guy and Johnson, the boss. He never followed what the other guys were telling him, but he made the right decision. Help you and guide you in all that you do, as we are waiting for the second coming of Jesus Christ. Pale kando ya birika alilala siku nyingi bila ya matumaini, hadi siku ya ajabu alipopata mgeni, Yesu mwana wa Mungu. Pale kando ya birika alilala siku nyingi bila ya matumaini, hadi siku ya ajabu alipopata mgeni, Yesu mwana wa Mungu. Yesu akamuuliza, je, unataka kupona? Mtu yule akamjibu, nimekosa msaidizi. Yesu akamuuliza, je, unataka kupona? Mtu yule akamjibu, nimekosa msaidizi. Oh, kaanza kupiga hatua, kaanza kupiga hatua, kaanza kupiga hatua, kaanza kupiga hatua. Hapo ndipo aliamini kwamba kweli amepona. Oh, huyo na kitanda chake kichwani mara huyo na kitanda chake kichwani akaenda. Ndugu, peleka zawadi kwa wasio na uwezo, mkawaonyeshe upendo kwamba kweli awapenda. Ndugu, peleka zawadi kwa wasio na uwezo, mkawaonyeshe upendo kwamba kweli awapenda. Yesu akamuuliza, je, unataka kupona? Mtu yule akamjibu, nimekosa msaidizi. Yesu akamuuliza, je, unataka kupona? Mtu yule akamjibu, nimekosa msaidizi. Kaanza kupiga hatua, kaanza kupiga hatua, kaanza kupiga hatua, kaanza kupiga hatua. Hapo ndipo aliamini kwamba kweli amepona. Mara huyo na kitanda chake kichwani akaenda. Mara huyo na kitanda chake kichwani akaenda. May the Lord bless you all.